just recalled out. Someone, please.
Alrighty. Anybody who hasn't done puzzles, come over to this platform here. This platform has a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Corresponds to 1, 2, and 3, and 4 upstairs. If you are on a puzzle, there are 3 rounds of puzzles. So you'll come up here, you'll observe your combination, it's different each time, and then you will come to an actual puzzle. So let's take a look at 1. 1 is yellow, red, red, green, blue, green. So you get that written down however you need to write it down. You come over to 1. So here's 1. Okie dokie. So we're going to talk puzzle platform for a second. There's a trap box here. Doing the trap box and pulling the lever automatically solves the puzzle. We do this on round 3 of the traps coming up because that's when things are hot and heavy. You can do it at any point, I suppose, but we do it when it matters the most. So that's when we do that. So don't.
Question.
Yes.
Okay, with the puzzle and the trap box, if you don't have that ability, what do you do?
You have to do
solve
the puzzle.
So
Okay.
what we're
next
gonna do, you start pulling these levers. Let me go through it real quick, and then we'll do questions if that's okay.
Okay.
So you're gonna pull levers to match the pattern you saw earlier. And something important to note is that the position of the levers and the actual button you are doing do not match up. So everybody come up here who is not puzzled and pull some levers and observe how it actually behaves with the machine, please. Because it's kind of weird. And this changes as well. So there's no like solve or anything, you just have to come in here and manually come in here and do it. Also note that red, they start kind of blank and looks kind of red. That is different from true red, like on the when you looked at the console over there. So it can't just be that blank red, you gotta make sure it's the bright red. Once you have pulled all of these lights and got them all lit up, you need to pull this furnace main breaker, this big lever right here. When you do that, this big huge fat light below the number, the big gigantic one, turns green for a little bit. It will turn green whether you succeed or fail at the combination. If you fail at the combination, it will flip back. If you've succeeded at the combination, it will stay green. And that is how you do a puzzle. Questions, please.
I just have a comment. The bright red has a symbol in the middle of the gem. The blank red does not.
Ah, good observation.
So the levers, they don't correspond with where they are.
No.
But
nope.
How do you know which one you're pulling? You just have
You pull the first one and see which light changes.
Yep.
Okay. So you just test it then.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just test it and just go down the row 1 through 6.
Okay.
Oh, worth mentioning, you don't have to wait the animation. You can just like click 3 times, and then they'll go to the corresponding color.
The cycle of colors is the same on every single crystal. So once you start doing that, you're going to get a feel for where, how many times you got to click to go red, how many times is yellow, how many times is blue. And if you already know that, then once you figure out where the crystal is, you can just go click, 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 or, click, or whatever you need to do in order to solve the puzzle.
Yep.
Okay.
What I would recommend is take the solution for puzzle 1 and go to 4 and set 4 to be the same thing, just so you get experience, and then do that. Depending on if you're on 1, 2, 3, or 4, the lever to crystal connection is not the same. They're different on every single puzzle. So don't try to memorize. Oh, I know puzzle 1. I know puzzle 2. No, just learn. You pull the first lever, figure out where it goes. Pull the second lever, figure out where it goes. Just learn that methodology, and you can do every single puzzle every single time.
Also, why that's important is so the first round of doing puzzles, you gotta come back up for the second round, because when the second round of puzzles, the combination is different. So you gotta come up and look again.
Now I have a question.
Doesn't matter if you have trappers.
If you have a trapper, you want to use them at at a critical time, right? So you, typically the third round is when you want to use a trapper. The first and second rounds, you have a lot of leeway before the boss comes back up. China, go ahead.
Well, what my question is now I understand you walk in and you pick a number, you find your pole with the number, and in party chat, you put down the first letter of each color, but don't hit enter. That was seemed to me the easiest way. And then you went to your puzzle. Any lever that faced away from the crystals were already set. So
No,
mm,
no, no,
okay.
no, 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 no. That is the coolant tanks down below. That has nothing to do with the puzzle up above.
Oh, we should cover coolant tanks after
The
this.
coolant tank is left, right, center, and all the levers down below have to be pointing away from the coolant tanks. Do not confuse that with solving the puzzle. Two different things.
Pointing away from the cooling tanks. So
Yeah, come downstairs.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm at 8.
So the sequence is if all of them are pointing towards the coolant tank, you want to pull the leftmost lever first, because when you pull the leftmost lever, it's going to change two of them at the same time. Then you pull the rightmost one, which is going to change two of them again, and then the center one, which only moves the center one. So left, right, center, in order to make sure that all of the levers are away from the coolant tank.
Okay, I see. I get it.
And then that will turn the coolant tank green. We save one of them, the last one, until all 4 puzzles up above are solved, so that when we solve the coolant tank, then the boss usually comes back.
Question.
Uh-huh.
Besides my being terribly confused, but and that's not an issue at this point for me. What is the sequence as far as when you do one or the cooling tanks? If you're assigned a puzzle, let's say puzzle 2, are you assigned a tank
No.
also?
No. If you're doing puzzles, you're doing puzzles. If you're doing the tanks, only one person needs to go down and do the tanks. The tanks do not become active until rounds 2 and 3. So right now, I would say focus on figuring out the puzzle versus the coolant tanks.
I would like to add that it is convenient for people who are doing puzzles if there can be somebody to come up and help, either in Tim off or
Kill
the
or just mess with the trash.
Because that can really jack with you while you're trying to do the puzzles or kill you or whatever. So it's really nice to have somebody to come up and kind of watch it while you do it. That it helps it accelerate the puzzles, so that you don't have to like I disagree with if you're on a puzzle, bring your guy to somebody. I think it should be a more aggressive somebody goes up and deals with it, and not a puzzler.
Yes. So today we had a caster or a couple of casters that were dealing with the trash that were coming up. So as soon as the trash would come up, they would either explode them or turn them or whatever. So that was extremely helpful. Oops.
You can follow lava. That's great. I didn't know you could do that. Ah!
So
I noticed that when people completed a puzzle, a fire elemental popped up.
no,
behind
that is not true. It's a timed event, and the rates that spawn, it's on a specific time. So a certain amount of time passes, and then they'll pop, and that happens whether the puzzle is solved or not.
Should we talk about let's just discuss runners and the intricacies of 1, 2, 3 level giants?
Well, hold on. Let's get through the puzzle first
Yeah.
and make sure we're all clear on that. Anyone have more questions? It's a great time to ask.
Are we there yet?
No, we're not. Next.
No, Sundays is confused.
Right,
but I
Sundays.
understand
Clear up your
finding-
confusion.
Well, I understand. Go to a number on the panel. It's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick let's say 2. You go find your 2 panel and according to the colors on the panel, that first time you do the levers. You don't have to wait for the lever to click. You just click, click, click until you get the right color. When when you think they're all correct, you go down to the last lever and you hit the lever. But you need to wait long enough because if they're not correct, it'll
No,
change.
no. As soon as you get the color sequence, you pull the last lever. If you're solving the top, there's no waiting. You do it instantaneously.
Sometimes, if it's not correct, it'll go green and then back red.
Correct. But once you've got your sequence in, it doesn't matter. The second you've got your sequence, you can pull that. You can pull that lever when you walk up to it. It doesn't matter. But you've got to get the right sequence of colors. The 6 colors have to be in there correctly for that lever to get pulled and stay green.
Okay, and it has nothing to do with the position of the
No.
levers,
No,
whether they're away from the crystal
Nope.
or toward the
no,
crystal.
no, not at all.
Okay.
What
Okay, I
else?
got that part.
Okay. So let me ask you this. If you look at the sequence for number 2, can you go over to puzzle 3 and put that sequence into 2? The second
No,
sequence.
they're all individual and they change every
No,
time.
I'm asking you right now. Go find out what puzzle 2 is supposed to be and solve that sequence on puzzle 3, because you can do that right now because the crystals are active. Just to practice, just so you get practice. Sorry, Tobril, you got it.
Oh, I was gonna say like 2 to 2 because I'm not.
No, if you want to talk about the the runners and.
So there's DM text partway through the raid that goes blah blah blah, jump to your doom, and
Come join us in
yeah. And you'll have various like ogres and imps and things.
Just let me put a side note there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, if there's some sort of lag, you won't get that message. Just putting that out there.
Good enough. Yeah.
But they will jump nonetheless.
Yep. They'll shoot out of kind of like the sides.
If you have your general chat up, you'll see it in general chat.
Yeah,
You'll see
exactly.
the DM in general chat. You may not hear it, but it definitely will pop up in general chat.
Because what Trobril is saying, Trobril, sorry, I got it right now. The thing will pop up on your screen, but like I said, sometimes it won't. So just like when you make sure you're hitting the giant, you have to watch your dice. So whereas you have to be watching the general chat, and in there you will see if they're coming or not. Sorry.
Alright. So, for the most part, the people are going to come up these little, where I'm waving my sword-ish. They're going to come up this area, and they're going to come off kind of the corner here, where the solid piece meets the sky. So if you are a crowd controller, those are good places to put dancing balls. That is by far the best way to control them. Dancing balls or fog or web or whatever you got. Otherwise, just blaze them as quick as you can. So
Show me again, I was trying to find you.
Kind of this little hallway here and these steps here, kind of in this area.
Okay.
Also, if you look up, they're going to come from upstairs also, and they're going to come off the edges of this big tall platform. So like right here-ish is a good place to put like where they would fall, like about here, where my feet are, is a good spot for dancing ball. Same with this opposite corner here is a good spot. You kind of get those areas for those choke points, and you're pretty good to go as far as that goes. So when the little runners,
What are you dancing?
so the little
trash.
those little ogres and imps and stuff, because they're gonna try to come and run into the lava, and when they jump into the lava, they turn into the stage 1 wraith, the little baby wraith.
Oh, okay.
So talk about the wraiths for a second. A little wraith, if killed by itself, dies. a little wraith, if killed by another wraith, advances the state of the other wraith. So
If it's close to the other wraith.
yeah, if it's close. So what'll
So
happen
you
is a little
don't
wraith
wanna
will turn into an
mass frog 'em?
enraged. Enraged can still be insta-killed
Insta-killed.
with frog, mass frog. You want to use
Sunburst.
the massed versions. You want to use mass frog. You want to use sunburst. If you are very, very, very spec'd into it, turn undead. And those, as long as you insta-kill the things completely, you'll be good. Because those big wraiths are orange. They can also be. They might be able to be flash freezed. I'm not sure.
They can be flash freezed. Any of those things can be CC'd.
So,
So if you've got a legendary ice weapon, like on an aura or something like that, then you can freeze all those things in place.
so that's pretty good. Now the big challenge is if one of those enraged orange names gets killed and is next to something. That's when you start having problems because that turns into a red named giant. The giants are kind of bad news. You want to try to avoid that as much as you can. If you do get a giant, I think the way to do it is to either very strong people take it away or you take it to the tank. You kind of have to feel that situation out a little bit, and a tank will know their threshold for how many giants they can have on them at once. At that point, I think kill all the baby trash, and then focus giants one at a time. Do not split up your DPS on giants unless you're AoE, and then just try to do your best.
So let me try to say this a different way. That was exactly correct. If you had trash, if you had little baby things and a giant, and you killed the giant is going to feed the baby things and turn that into a giant. You do not want to do that, right? So if things are growing, if it's grown to its full height, meaning it is a giant, it's not going to get any larger than the giant. Kill the baby trash rather than beating on the giant, because every time you kill something, like for example, if you beat down a giant and it's got a like a pixel of health left, and you kill a baby right next to it, it's going to take that giant all the way back to full health.
Rip.
So if you've got a tank that can intimidate and hold aggro, then kill all the other trash, let it feed into this giant that's doing nothing more than feeding it into full health, and then beat down the giant. Does that kind of make...
Beautiful.
You guys, good night.
Can you repeat that?
Good night, mate.
I got
Yeah,
the
mate.
baby
So
giants
everything
you
feeds
hit
upwards,
first.
right? So anything that you kill is going to feed something close to it. If you want to do this effectively, you want to split them up and kill them separately so that they're not feeding anything when they die. They have like a little AoE burst that feeds anything close to it. So when you kill a baby, it turns into an enraged, and when you kill an enraged, it could feed something else and turn into, I forget what the other one is. Is it 4 stages or 3 stages? I
So
know
when you kill it, it doesn't just die and go away.
if it's by itself, it dies and goes away.
Or if you like mass frog and get them all.
Or mass frog, or if you have sunburst, the place where you do not want to use implosion is in here, because implosion kills one at a time, and you make so many large giants very quickly by using implosion. Implosion, bad.
Having bad DCs will also cause similar problems, so you
Yes,
need to
yes.
make sure you're on top of it.
You need to make sure you know what your DCs are before you try to help out. So China, can you explain to me what's going, or have I not explained it again?
No, I got that. The baby
feeds the enraged. Like if you kill 2 babies
they
together.
go through stages of getting stronger.
Yes.
And so somebody needs to intimidate and pull away the little babies while other people go in and try to kill the aggro or the big boss. Have I got that right?
If you have a giant, they cannot be insta-killed, but the forge rates and the enraged forge rates can be CC'd. You can manage them through like freezing them or I don't think you can hold them, but I'm pretty sure you can even control undead, which you do not want to do. Don't control undead; those things. It gets
Yeah,
annoying.
Sunday doesn't do that.
Right, but you
But
can
what
you can
can
definitely crowd
Sunday
control
do?
those things. Sundays has the ability to intim and hold aggro.
Basically, it just keeps
Right.
them from going nuts and blasting everybody randomly. So
Yeah,
it's
you
controlled
want
chaos.
to take on that responsibility rather than getting someone else killed, because you've got the hit points and the shield and everything else, the MRR, to be able to handle trash coming in, the incoming damage coming in.
Right, I'm trying to figure out what I should be doing, and it sounds like puzzles aren't it. It's more I
Why
need
are puzzles
to go.
not it?
You be on puzzle. Just you
Why
wait.
are puzzles not it?
I guess.
I don't
Good night.
know.
Night.
Josh, on 6. There's one up.
Maybe it's just confusion and multitasking. And
Not for the level I am.
sequence-
Oh, sorry.
The sequence of when to do things.
Okay, so where's the confusion?
You walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
People are assigned puzzles. They go up to the control panel. They find their